This is a homage beat.
Crikey, it's a wild kitty. Doing some cat shit. We don't know. Alright guys, what's up? So it is like 8 in the morning-ish. I'm gonna head over to the scrapyard to get a clip for the clutch cable. So hopefully it doesn't cost too much. Probably like 20 cents, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I'm headed to do. And then hopefully we can get the clutch line in. Alright guys, so I'm here at the junkyard. Did my rounds. All the Volkswagens that were there were picked over. So this is a variation of the clip. So this is what's on the cylinder that pushes the clutch in and out. The difference between this one and the other one is these ends would be vertical, so it would make a 90 up, and then this one would be a 90 down. So I'll either have to just bend these ones, or I'll just see if it works, because it's gonna have to work for now, and then I'll just order one if I want the car to be drivable today. This is essentially what the other one looks like. So this should work. It rides on these tangs in the thing, so yeah, it should work, hopefully. So I dropped the other clip inside the car. That one's gone. But I did turn the wheels on my car, and this guy was just sitting on the control arm. So I've got the clip that I need. It's the proper clip, so we should be good for today. I'm gonna install that and the clutch cable, and then we're not gonna worry about that anymore. Literally took me like an hour and a half to get the little clip in. Finally got it in. Also, I got the clutch line on. I'll show you guys what's going on. We have a garage being built, so I'm gonna have a new workspace for the car stuff, so all the cool stuff can happen there. So that's why it's going loud right now, guys. And so I got, the system is like 90% bled. There's a few little air bubbles. I was stepping on the clutch pedal with this already extended like all the way out. So it kind of pushed a little bit of fluid out here, but I don't think it's bad. I think it was just because I was putting too much stress on it. I realized that this piece should sit about right here, and it's got to push the clutch in, so yeah. But here is the new stainless line, guys. Looks pretty. And yeah, we're gonna continue working. Probably put like the AC compressor and stuff on the engine up there and get it prepared to go back into the car. It was also funny, I put the starter motor in, and it does not reach the flywheel, but then I was just messing around with it, and I didn't know starter motors like pulled out like that. I thought it would just continue to rotate with the engine, but yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious. I was panicking so bad that this thing didn't fit, but we're all good, so yeah. We're feeding it pomegranate so it gets nice and strong. Yeah, just put them in there, in that intake. Yeah, put them in the holes. I am gonna put the manifold and turbo back on. I got it all put back together. Turbo's a little bit dirty just from grabbing it with greasy hands. And then also I replaced, this oil line had a wicked crack across it. I was wondering why my car was losing oil. And you can see it leaving puddles everywhere, so it was dripping out of the return line. So I replaced that with some of the line that I'm going to be using for the oil cooler. Hopefully I still have enough. So let's put this manifold back on. So I took apart my oil feed stuff and put some new Teflon tape and all the joints. This one was kind of stripped, so I had to thread it in a little bit more, and then since I did that, I had to change the angle of this so it wouldn't hit on the manifold back there. So I'm gonna attach the oil line to this, and then I'm gonna attach this to the turbo, and we're gonna make sure that everything clears and we're all good to go. As you guys can see, the engine is sitting in the engine bay. We've got this mount and the transmission mount both hooked up. I have to get, I had the upgraded dog bone mount bushing, so the stiffer bushings in my other transmission, so I have to pull that one off. So it is in there, nice and pretty, just a little bit dirty from scraping the ground, but I also got my power steering line. I didn't go ahead and buy the one that was for the standard transmission. I'm just using the one from the automatic. I stretched it a little bit, uncrimped these a little bit, and kind of bent them to make it reach over here, but it seems to fit just fine. And then it tucks up between the transmission and the frame rail, this big frame rail of the car, and it's totally clear of the wheel. So there it is right there. So it runs up in between the transmission and the frame rail, and then it also seems to clear the axle just fine, or when it's in at least, hopefully. So yeah, I'm gonna run it like that. I got the vacuum out so I can vacuum inside this tray. It's just full of leaves from being here for months, so I'm gonna vacuum that out, and then yeah, we will continue on. I bought some new bolts to mount the shift cables to the transmission with their little bracket. So I'm gonna put those in, and then I'm also gonna set the shifting mechanism up. So we should be able to shift the car now. So here it is. So there's 1, 2, and 3 bolts in there. I did find some bigger washers, so I went with those. So it is in there. I also got the shifter working properly, got it all. I set it to the home position, and then set this to the home position using a 5mm Allen wrench inside the car, and we seem to be good. So we're in reverse right now. Let me pop it out of that. Sometimes you need to use the clutch just to get some movement in the shaft. But 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. I also apply the clutch just because it seems to be hanging up a little bit, but there is 5 right there. So yeah, we're all good to go. Feels really notchy and good, so pretty happy with that. So yeah, now I just got to learn how to drive a standard. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a real good time. So as you saw, we can shift gears, shift through all the gears. The clutch pedal works. Everything is pretty good. I still have to put the axles on, connect the exhaust to the downpipe from the turbo, and then hook up all the electrical connections and put the new ECU in. So I didn't really show you guys how to put the transmission in and all of that stuff, but it is literally just like putting the automatic back on. Everything with the Jettas, the 1.8 and the 2.0 is basically just like plug and play, and then the standard and automatic, it's basically plug and play. There's a few wiring things that I will go over when I know that my wiring works. I don't want to show you guys a bunch of wiring if it's wrong. So we'll see if my wiring works, and if it does, then I'll show you guys how I did it, and if not, I'll show you guys how I corrected it. So yeah. What's up, guys? So I do have a quick update for you. I did want to show you that the engine is in the car. Basically everything is hooked up. There's coolant, there's oil, everything is on. We've got headlights in. Still working on getting the axles torqued down. I have to put my wideband sensor back into the exhaust. Everything is run. I just have to put my intake pipe with the mass airflow sensor in, and then drop it down, get the car all broken in and ready to drive. I tried to put the car in reverse to see if the reverse lights worked. I think I wired them backwards, so I'm going to try and flip the cables, and if that doesn't work, then I'm just going to have to run without reverse lights. I did also check to see that the starter kicks when I press the clutch in, and it does, so that's good. But I just wanted to tell you guys that it is basically done, so exciting. Everything is basically set to go, and now I'm going to try and start the car, as sketchy as that sounds, but yeah, let's see what it does. Alright, so I have no idea why it is revving up so high, and I can't keep it on because it's doing that, but it does start, so that's a good start, I guess. I just gotta figure out why it wants to rev up so high. What's up, guys? So I did figure out why it was idling so weird with the other ECU. It's just because the other ECU sucks. So I put the automatic one back in, and it runs just fine. I'll start it up for you guys real quick. Alright, so foot on the clutch, throw the key on in here, and it fires right up. So it is in neutral, the wheel kind of wants to spin, and you guys can hear that like clunking noise. So I initially thought it was that piston slap, so I was really freaked out, thinking the rods were knocking or something was just off, and it's only on this side of the engine. Everywhere else you can just hear like the lifter tick and all of that stuff. So I came through and popped this off, and that was the cause of that noise. So I'm glad to hear that. Everything else just seems to be running fine. There are no leaks. It snowed a little bit, so it's just wet under there and dirty. So everything looks to be good. About ready to just finalize it, drop it on the ground, and we'll be ready to rip the car so it runs. So yeah, I was really scared about having it knock like that. I initially thought it was like piston slap, and then it didn't go away when I'd rev up the engine, so I was like, oh great, one of the rods is knocking, and it must be cylinder number one, just since it was on that side. But I'm glad I did some exploring and pulled off the timing belt cover, and that was the cause. I do want to make sure, because the timing belt was run super tight when I had that head spacer in, when I initially put the turbo on, and now it's just so much looser that I'm not used to it. Like I can almost pull it off of the cam gear by hand, so I do want to double check that and make sure that it's not moving back and forth and about to fall off and like skip a tooth and just blow my whole engine up just by like coming off time. So I will pull that cover off and inspect that and all of that stuff probably tomorrow because it's Friday today. So I also went ahead, and I've always been a fan of lights, as you guys can see with my halos and stuff and demon eyes on the car. So I went ahead and bought a lighting system so I can do underglow on the car. So these are 6803, it's like the driver chip that runs these. They're 6803 LED RGB chasing strips. So we're gonna have some cool underglow effects for the car. I'm gonna cut it about like 4.5 feet for the side skirts. This is a 16.5 foot strand of lights, so about like 4.5 feet, and about 3.5 feet for the rear bumper, and then another 4.5 feet for the other side skirt, and then the rest of it will go to the front bumper. So it'll do this chase all the way around the car. So should be pretty cool. It has a bunch of different effects in it. It's not really rated for cars, and I'm not too sure why, because it's rated for the outdoors. So we are gonna see how well it works. It was only like $30 for the controller and the light strip, so I'm not out too much money, and it looks pretty cool. I can use it for other things if it doesn't work for the car. But yeah, sorry I'm kind of all over the place. It's weird. I have like a lot to say to you guys because I don't film very much, so I have a lot to say in like a little amount of time. But yeah, that's what's going on. The car works. I just gotta break the motor in. So yeah, I'll be making a video this weekend of me learning how to drive standard and probably failing at it, burning my stage 2 clutch. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you for watching.